What is going to pretend here, back with another Honkai Star Rail video, and today I'm here with my final impressions of Castorice. With it being about a day until the first half of 3.2 does come to an end, with her banner also leaving for Anox's banner, and the second half of 3.2, I'm finally going to be over what I do think, what was happening when I was testing her, what I do think now at the very end. I've gotten to test her quite often in MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow, primarily as a hypercarry DPS, but I've also used her a lot with a dual DPS with Mire. I've tested her with her signature Lycone, without signature Lycone, a bit of E2, mine's at E0S1, so I'll primarily be talking about that. But yeah, so before I get to the video, if you guys found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, or enjoyable, drop a like would be greatly appreciated. If you're new or haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Rail content and guides, and let's get straight into it. So leading it off with my first impressions, and just slowly going into my final impressions. My first impressions were that I was really happy with her performance. Her HP drain was very, very manageable if you did have a well-built sustain, so I had no issues on keeping her alive at all times. Her damage output was very, very consistent and very, very stable. And it was also a really fun unit to, figure out when you want to instantly blow up the dragon or if you want to actually cycle it. Because there's actually two different playstyles you can do that both have their advantages. You can do it to where you try to keep the dragon out as long as possible and the third turn detonate it, or summon it and detonate it right away. Personally, I've been using the actual keeping it out as long as possible playstyle just because it usually does do better for me. But yeah, in MOC, I've gotten her consistently to 0 to 1 cycle. In Pure Fiction, I've always gotten her to get max points, and in Apocalyptic Shadow, I usually always get above the needed thresholds for points, usually really high at that. It depends on what run I'm doing, what I'm trying to go for, what kind of setup I'm doing, and then also obviously depending on luck. Sometimes I'll get, really high, 3,800. Sometimes one time I had a run where I got 3,900. Sometimes I got 3,600, but usually never went below 3,600. So very, very, very much enough to get full points in that mode as well. Her being a full AoE based character has just been really, really good. Her also having the best teammates behind her. Tribi is super broken. RMC is super good. Teams where you can actually use Sunday, super, super good. Especially with mine, because mine's also E2. No matter what team variants I have been using, she has been performing really good. Again, super, super consistent damage, really, really good damage output at that. And I do like the ability to actually have high ceiling on this character. You can use it as a general level and do completely fine, but you can get more advanced and more technical with her and how you want to use her and when to detonate stuff and when to actually ult and all that kind of stuff to have a higher ceiling to play better. And then obviously when you account for other things such as running a DDD in the team and such, you do have a lot of flexibility. Very easy to use, can be hard to use if you want to get to those levels. So not only is she, pretty free to play accessible, besides not really having a Lycone option, she has just been performing really good at most levels. I've tried her with her Lycone primarily. Her Lycone does make up a significant portion of her damage because it provides just super, super good things. I have also tried her with the Battle Pass Lycone, which is a definite noticeable damage drop-off, but is still really, really good. Especially if you get to the point where you don't overcap on crit, even though you are running a crit rate Lycone. If it actually does help you to the point getting you really, really close to 100% or at 100% directly, it's really, really good. And I have unfortunately gotten myself to try out the high base HP Lycones. I've tried it with Mire's Lycone because he has the highest base HP Lycone. So a Lycone that has high base HP but doesn't actually work on the character, you can definitely notice the damage drop off, but she still does pretty damn good damage despite not having a Lycone be usable there. Still performs fine, still can clear endgame fine, but it is definitely noticeable for once you get the Battle Pass Lycone and especially her signature Lycone. The jumps are really, really big. I definitely hope we do eventually get a free-to-play Remembrance Lycone that is going to be really good on her, because all the other Remembrance Lycones besides the Battle Pass one and obviously her signature are really, really bad, and that's why you run a high base HP Lycone instead. But yeah, her at E0, S0, with the Battle Pass Lycone, E0, S1 especially, she's just been super, super good. Without the Lycone and having a high base HP Lycone, less so, but still does perform well. And the bit I did try her at E1, S1, and also E2, S1. At E1, S1, it's just a big damage increase for the lower HP the enemies have. Not really much to talk about there. It is very much noticeable. It is a really good stepping stone to her really, really good E2. So just seeing more damage, she already does fantastic damage at E0, S1, so E1, S1 giving you a pretty big noticeable jump there too is just that much better. And then, oh my god, her E2, giving Cassius a turn every time you do get the ultimate up, lets you get a free enhanced skill, and that enhanced skill does so much goddamn damage on its own. Having the 2 Ardent Wills to offset the HP drain of Netherwing and letting you get to level 3 right away for free pretty much, while also getting those 2 free hits in is also super, 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 super good. And also does allocate you to actually do a instant detonate playstyle even more than you would not. So it actually does make that playstyle a lot more stronger. So yeah, getting able to get the instant level 3 level strength is just super good. And then again, the extra action advanced by 100% to get that free enhanced skill is so big, just because that enhanced skill with a proper team, so like E1 Chibi, RMC buff active, and so on, that enhanced skill easily hits over 1,000,000. So getting a free 1,000,000 hit is just super good no matter what mode you're on. And then also getting 30% equal to max Newbud is also super good. So her E2 is definitely one of the best E2s you can get, because everything it is providing is just super good, and she just becomes so goddamn strong with that E2. But yeah, again, she performs well in every mode. Having full AoE based attacks practically makes sure she is pretty set, because this game does hard favor AoE characters. So the fact that her regular skill is Blast, her Netherwing attack is fully AoE. On top of that, the explosion is also AoE. And then when you do have the enhanced skill, when you do have Netherwing out, that becomes fully AoE as well. Really solid damage, being able to lower enemies all type res to make other sub DPSs or main DPSs do more damage as well. As a hyper carry, she has really good buffs set up for her, as opposed to someone like Blade did back then. And also is just super good to run a dual DPS setup with someone like Mide, because she's able to drain his HP and let him get charged a lot faster. Especially now that we have someone like Chibi that is able to give both of them really good buffs that will benefit them throughout the board. Running them together is probably more fun to me than running her hyper carry, but I prefer as a usage to run her a hyper carry instead, as it usually does just perform better. But a Mide Castorice dual DPS team is super fun. Performs really good at that as well, so having a really fun team that performs really good is always really nice to have. So my final impressions of her is I'm very satisfied. Again, she does good damage overall, great output, consistent damage, high ceiling if you want to go for those, flexible team options, and extremely powerful vertical investment options. Getting her S1 is a game changer, E1's really good, and then E2 is so broken. She just has a lot going for her. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about, which makes me a bit scared for her, is that right now, obviously, we do have these end game modes completely shilling the HP drain mechanic, because it is brand new pretty much, or not brand new, but is brought to light with meta now. Once these buffs are no longer HP draining, I still think Mide Castorice will be completely fine. She is also getting another buff with Hyacinth, which is going to make Castorice even more stronger than she already is. But the thing is, if that actually ends up ending there and she doesn't really get any buffs, you know, let's use Blade for an example. When Blade did release, he was extremely good, but the problem is he obviously had his own kit internal issues where he was, you know, split attack scaling and such, having no taunt and so on. But a big highlighting thing is he really didn't get a character that was just going to be super good for him. He didn't really receive another buff character to use with him until someone like Sparkle primarily. And now look at the best teams for him. It's all these like modern true damage giving units, you know, Tribi and so on. I can definitely see there being a future DPS in not too long ago, especially as we do know Phynon is going to be a big focus of Aventurine. I definitely do feel like he is going to become a big focus to the point that these characters you do use with Castorice could get shifted to him, and he potentially could get more focused on when it comes to actually being buffed. With Castorice, we just know that she's really strong now. Once the buffs wear out, that will lower her performance, which will still be really good. And then she's going to get Hyacinth, which is going to make her even stronger. Past that, we have no idea what she's going to get, if she's going to get more free-to-play options, if she's going to get more characters that increase her strength even more, if we ever get an HP scaling support as well, that, you know, can like buff max HP, give HP related buffs and such, if she may even see another buff anytime soon for the rest of Aventurine. It could very much likely just shift to Phynon. He could end up actually taking these characters, you know, maybe he wants to use RMC, maybe he wants to use Tribi, obviously we don't know, we'll have to see. He could take these characters, and as he is going to be the very much primary focus, besides, you know, maybe Serene if we do get her, Castorice may be left as a character that is just, you know, super good, super flashy, insane animations. She does perform really good, but she is not the best DPS in the game. It's not like Acheron when she released. You know, when Acheron released, we already knew she could get like power crept in a while, but for a while she was going to remain really good. And she did get not too many buffs, but she still remained one of the best. Thing is, we had less of an acceleration of unit jumps, as opposed to now, you know, every unit after the next is best sustained, best harmony, best DPS. So I feel like now in this case, I feel like Castorice may be very much prone to actually getting overshadowed quickly, especially if she doesn't get another buff related character. That is going to benefit her too much. If it stops at Hyacinth, I feel like she definitely still will be strong. You can definitely very much clear with her. It's not going to be an issue if you really want to get her because you like her. She's great. She's going to remain good. But if you care about always using the characters that are going to much freely get the full performance, I feel like she is in this very sad time slot where Phynon is super soon. And I feel like he might be a character that definitely overshadows her. her really quickly, especially when it comes to characters that buff them for focus as well. And then we also have Fate collab coming soon where they might start focusing on that, so there's no telling. But obviously that's all future stuff. That is stuff that is completely something we cannot predict right now. We're just gonna have to wait till more info comes out. I just want to, say that just in case. That is my only fear about her, and that's kind of a fear I have on, every unit going forward, just because of how much they've been accelerating the strengths of these characters. But even if she does get overshadowed, Castorice with her current team, and then also with someone like Hyacinth, she's going to be super strong for a good long while. And that further gets amplified if you do give her vertical investment. So definitely something that could happen. It's still going to be something that you can definitely just ignore and still perform well by vertically investing into her teams and her teammates. Maybe she will get even more buffs, it's something we're just gonna have to wait and see. But overall, as a character, she is very good right now, super strong. Once the buffs stop focusing her and HP related characters, I still think she's gonna be completely fine. These buffs are not the reason she's super broken. But after that, in the future, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, again, for now, vertical investment on her makes her so much stronger. Super fun character, really accessible teams, very strong vertical investment. Fantastic damage, really good consistency on her damage as well. High ceiling, she is a fantastic unit overall. But yeah, that is my final impressions. If you guys are also enjoying Castorice and you guys are really liking her, definitely feel free to comment below. She is a really fun unit, but definitely not one of my favorite units to use. I do love Castorice in the story, but she is just unfortunately not someone I like using too much. Still is fun, dragon attacking, big adrenaline, but that's about it. But once again, if you guys found this video helpful or enjoyable in any way, shape, or form, dropping a like would once again be greatly appreciated. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe and turn the button for future videos like this, along with all other types of Star Wars content, and I'll see you later. Peace out.